This is an engine out of a 2004 Acura TSX. It is the K24A2 and it is in my BMW E30. This is another K24A2 out of a 2004 Acura TSX. Now hear me out. What if we took this and put it in my first generation Honda CRV? Okay, so hear me out. We just finished the E30 and we are still just dialing it in and getting stuff figured out, and that's okay. That stuff takes some time and it takes some energy. But the channel needs to keep rolling. So, as you do, 10 o'clock at night, search on Facebook Marketplace, you start finding great deals. And this engine just happened to be one of those really good deals. So with all the research that I did with the K24 and the E30 build, I knew how much this engine was actually retailing for. So my initial thought was to purchase this engine and then clean it up and sell it for a profit. So then I got to thinking, now that I have this engine, well, you know, I have a Type S RSX intake manifold, like that's a nice upgrade, and then I was like, well, you know, transmission is only a couple $100, and I started talking myself into taking my daily driver, the Honda CRV, and wouldn't it be awesome to throw a K24A2 all-wheel drive manual swap into this car. So my CRV is a manual and it does have all-wheel drive from factory. It also has a couple rust spots and some stock wheels. And so I thought, what if this thing was a sick sleeper? So as I started thinking more and more about this, it would be a really cool idea to do a Honda to Honda engine swap rather than a BMW to Honda, and just kind of see the differences in the front wheel drive kind of platform versus converting it to rear wheel drive, you know, and all of the different mods that kind of change in this space. It would also be really cool to try out Honda and switch things up and kind of do a similar but different build. It is also really nice to have cars with the same engine. That way you kind of know the differences between the two, right? And you can swap sensors if you need to and do all that stuff. So in my mind, it just makes sense. But I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. If this would be something that you guys would be interested in and doing, like a little sleeper CRV type of build and just do nothing with the exterior and, you know, have a ton of fun with it. Since this is my daily driver, we wouldn't be able to start the build right away. We wouldn't be able to, you know, just rip the engine out because I use this thing on a daily basis. But what we could do is start preparing the engine, clean it up, strip it down, and kind of get everything in a better looking spot. But this would allow me to work with a couple of different companies and be able to try different products or use the same companies and see their different products for, you know, rear wheel drive versus front wheel drive versus all wheel drive. So it'd be super cool, and I've seen a couple awesome series on it, and I would like to kind of do my own adaptation. With that being said, the E30 is obviously still going to be the main focus of the channel, but I think that adding a second car and working with what I got is going to be the best thing for the channel. Now, if you guys aren't interested in seeing this sort of swap, just let me know in the comments down below. We can always just clean this engine up and resell it and then put it back into the channel in a different way. But I have neglected this thing so much in terms of maintenance, and it has been nothing but great for me for the last 40,000 miles, and the thing just starts up and keeps on trucking. So I would love nothing more than to put some actual work into this thing and actually make it and give it the engine that it deserves. The Honda CRV is obviously known for being incredibly slow, but it would be awesome. I've always been interested in a sleeper type of build, and it would be so just incredibly good to have this daily driver that has the K24A2 in it to give it a little bit more torque and a lot more power. So I'm very curious to hear your guys' thoughts on this thing. We would need to do a lot of cleaning up on this thing. You guys can see that it is just covered in grime, so either way we will be cleaning this thing up. But right there you can see K24 A2, and it's out of a 2004, so I think that is perfect that it's the same engine as the E30. For an update on the E30, we are working on getting a Link CAN Lambda sensor installed, and I am actually recording the video for that right now. But we are waiting on a wire. This thing is the wrong one. So this won't hook up to the ECU, and then from there I think that the E30 should be running a ton better. The idle is already sounding a good amount better on the E30, but I think with the Link CAN Lambda installed, the ECU should be reading properly, and the thing should be running very, very well. So I personally think that this would be a really fun project, and a really good thing to kind of dive into and do an actual Honda to Honda engine swap and see how that compares to the E30. I do think that it's very funny that they're the exact same engine and the exact same year. There's another level of just having an extra engine as insurance, so maybe it's used for that as well. But I figured with this engine we could work with what we got and start piecing together a build for the RD1 Honda CRV. I think keeping it all-wheel drive and manual would be awesome, especially since I plan to possibly move back to Colorado where there is snow. So it would be nice to keep it all-wheel drive and to have a cooler engine in there that is just a little bit newer, and you know, we can do some refreshing maintenance stuff on it. Obviously we are still working on the E30, so that is not going to change. We are still making progress, but in between waiting on parts and everything, we could start messing around with the engine and cleaning everything up. So I am curious to hear your guys' thoughts on this, so please let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments down below. And that is going to end it for today's video. Until next time, my name is Ryan. This is Project Race Car. Have an amazing day. Peace.